Okay, of course she did open that, but I want to go over this with you so you know exactly, teach you the game and know what would happen. So let's say that was 11 or under. And of course you need to meet or exceed the value shown on the token. She did that. But say that was 11 or under, you're just going to take one of your red marker tokens and as a reminder, just place it in there. So that was one attempt. Now, what you could do is say you want to bring Zeke. If he was in the, vicinity of the runes of Daggereth, he could come in and try to find that. So just know that it's not just tied to one hero. You could just leave that sit there for many turns and then have a hero come back. Again, if another hero comes up or Paladin tries again and it's a fail, you're going to put another one. Remember that 3? We have one more attempt. So let's just say that there was a third attempt. That's it. That secret room cannot be discovered. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip this over and you're going to notice there's a locked. This chamber now is locked and you can't discover this. And you're going to see why this is actually two things of what we're going to do for lock picking here. So just know on your third attempt, you're going to flip this over. It's locked. It cannot be attempted again for the remainder of the game. So we're going to shoot over here and I'm going to explain the lock picking game mechanic. And this is such a cool game mechanic. So right now, the secret chamber is been revealed, but just know that every door, so she found the door of it, but now it's locked. These things are hard to get into because there's a chance of finding a great treasure chamber. So let's go over here, and I think you're really going to enjoy this lock picking mechanism in the game. So let's go over here and discuss this. Okay, let's go over the lock picking game mechanic. I think you're really going to love how this thing works. And again, we're not getting rid of this secret room token, that we used, because on the other side, this chamber can still be locked. So let's go over this real quick. This costs 1 action for a hero to try to pick a lock. As we saw with Paladin, remember she moved, that was 1 action, and then she tried to discover that secret room with her last action. So her turn is over. So we'd be going into the next turn for her to pick the lock. So let's break down a lock pick, and let me explain what this is. Of course, that's the reverse side, right there. And then if you take a look in here, that's actually like the inside of a lock, and you notice there's like a pick in there. Let me get it better like this. I can hold it and point the stuff out. Okay, so that's like the inside of a lock, right there. Here we see ×3. What that means is that this lock, you have 3 attempts to try to pick it before it breaks. So on the third attempt, if you don't, we're going to get to this, if this doesn't open, the secret room is going to be locked. And before I forget, there's also some treasure chests in the game that uses this exact same system. So this is how this works. Of course, these are all the lockpick tokens. You're going to put all of these, when a hero spends an action to try to pick a lock, you're going to take all of these tokens and put them into like the orb we used or a bag or mug. You're going to pull one out at random. So when I design this, you're going to notice that some locks are very hard, that they're not going to have many attempts. Some are going to be very easy, some are going to be hard, some are going to be like middle of the road. So let's discuss these colored numbers here. These represent these D6 colored dice. So what a hero must do is, okay, so we have a red 3, a green 6, and a blue 5. What they must do to successfully kind of get in there and pick that lock is they're going to roll all these dice at the same time. So from the result, after they're rolled, let's say the red die here, the red D6, if that is 3 or higher, like this right here, this tumbler or whatever you want to call it, that's successfully picked. You can set that aside. So that's 1 attempt out of the 3. So then you're going to roll just these 2. So you remember, you can set successive rolls aside. So then you're going to roll the green and blue. And again, kind of picture Paladin's in there trying to, pick this lock open. So let's say that, a green 5 comes up. Okay, that is successfully, that part of the lock, you're going to set that aside. And then according to this, there's 1 more attempt, right? So she has to roll a Oh, I'm sorry, that was a 6. Forgive me. Let's say that I got that backwards. Back up. I'm not going to edit that. Let's say that was a 6. Sorry. That would get, of course, set aside. So then lastly, she just has to get that blue 5 on the blue D6. So, of course, let's say that she rolled that. Third attempt, it's picked. Now she can spend an action to move into that secret chamber and pull one of the secret room cards. And of course, we're going to be doing that. But let me show you something that's kind of cool about the heroes and their lockpicking attribute, and especially with Palom. You know, certain heroes you're going to find are great at lockpicking. She's our rogue, so of course, she's going to be excellent. So notice right here, there's the lockpicking attribute. Notice the +2. And of course, you probably already guessed what that means. You can add that +2 to what the attempts are. So because she's a rogue, she's excellent at getting into lock. So that's actually, she has 5 attempts to pick that lock open. But let me show you this. Barbarians, you know. But remember, with certain things in the game, certain gear, you can equip them to make them better at lockpicking. So they're not stuck at this. Well, Maheliak, he's a barbarian, and barbarians usually aren't good at picking locks. So see that -2? You're going to have to deduct 2 from that 3. So he only has 1 attempt. You know, he's a barbarian, and he really can't get in there like Palom, because she's very adept at picking locks. It's just a very, very cool system. And of course, we're going to demonstrate this, but I just wanted to point that out. So there's your lockpick attribute. Remember, you may have to, if it's someone like Maheliak, you may have to subtract 2 from that attempt, or someone like Palom that has that +2, you get to add this to that. And you'll discover when I put these together, like I said, you'll find easy locks to pick. Some will, you know, middle of the road. Some are very hard to pick, and there's not that many attempts, and those values are quite high. And again, it's kind of like trying to get into that lock and pick it. It's a tough lock to pick. So let's go over this real quick and show you how this works with, you know, a real example. Okay, so like I said, I didn't want to move the camera back over there, but you know, Palom's at the door of that secret chamber, and now she's going to try to pick that lock. This is the start of her turn, right? She has 2 actions. This is one of those actions right here. So what we're going to do, like we said, we're going to take all these lockpick tokens and we're going to put them into our orb or mug or bag or whatever you're going to use. Put those in, give a quick shuffle. I always like these in games, you know, like where you reach into something and pull a token or something out. So we're just going to reach in, grab one, and let's see what kind of lock that Palom has got to try to pick here. Okay, so that's we can see there's 3 attempts. So she has to get a red 5, a green 5, and a blue 4. But remember, she has that +2. So actually, we have 5 attempts at this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take our D6, I'm going to set it to 5, and quite simply, we're going to see if she can kind of pick that lock open. So this is the first attempt. Wow, her lock picking wasn't too hot there, of course, because none of those are, of course, you know, we need a 5, 5, and a 4. So that's 1 attempt, so let's go down to 4. Okay, well that's better. So let's take a look here. Now, of course, she just had to get a 4 or higher on the blue die, so that's successful. So almost there. So she has 3 attempts left. I'm gonna roll these, and I think she did it. Yep, well, oh no, actually no. So she needed to get a green 5, but she got the green 6, and that's a 4. We need to see a 5 on the red D6. She has 2 attempts. I think she's gonna do it though. All we need is a 5 or better. There you go. Palom did it. How do you like that? Okay, so now she kind of picked that lock open. The door swung open. So that right there, notice though, with that 1 action, you can keep doing those successes when you're lock picking. So now let's go back to the dungeon and move her into that secret room and see if she found a desolate chamber or a treasure chamber. And also there's a crate in there, so we're gonna go over that also. Okay, and we're back here at the secret room here. Of course, she picked the lock, so we're gonna slide that open. And remember, that was one action that she used to pick a lock. So she's gonna move in with her second action, and now she is going to get to draw a secret room card. So here's what they look like, and I'll just give you a little, again, David Shear, the amazing David Shear. I worked with him on the creation of that. And what David, we talked about different versions of this, but notice that book that's out, he actually thought of that like the book is kind of pulled out like in this secret door open. So I thought I'd show you that. So much history I could tell you about this game and how just going about designing it. So I thought you'd like to know that little piece of Dungeon Crusade history. But she's inside of our secret room. We're going to process that crate in a moment. It's basically the same thing, guys, as what we just saw with using our orb. So I want to shuffle this on camera so you see there's no cheating or anything, and we'll see what she found here. But we'll discuss this a little bit. So let's just grab this one. Palom has discovered, well, not that bad. What is, I think that's, whoops, sorry. Get back over here. So she has found 800 gold. And you go, Dean Spencer, he's the one who created that art. Shout out to Dean, very nice. So she found 800 gold. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but just know there is some very high gold amounts in these treasure chambers, and there could be some other things in there that you'll like. And real quick, I'll just show you, if in case it was a desolate chamber, that's kind of what that looks like there. There you go. And when I asked Dean to do this, notice the rat down here in the corner on the skull. I said, please put a rat on a skull, because I just think that's perfect. So there you go. So there you can see what's going to happen when you go in there. Treasure chamber or a desolate chamber with a dead king or something on that throne. Very awesome art, Dean. All right, so I'll tell you what, let's just knock this out too. Let's open up that crate. And just know, this is a free action. You don't have to, once a hero's in a chamber, they can just smash that open. You don't need an action for that. So let's set that up. Let me show you how to smash open a crate. Okay, and remember, this is from the seeding process right here when that crate showed up. And I just want to say again, that's what's really just cool about this game, that you just don't know what will happen in the seeding process. It's almost like a random dungeon generator where, this crate just happened to show up in a secret room. So let's take this thing out of here. And like we showed, this is a master token. Remember, it's the same on both sides. And we'll head back over here and let's have Palom smash open this crate. And you probably already know what you're gonna do. You're gonna gather up all these crate tokens, and no spoilers, but I will give you a hint of what is inside a few of these crates. You're gonna gather up all of these crate tokens. Now, of course, there's something on the reverse side. This is just our master token here. You're gonna gather all these up and put them inside of your orb or mug or bag or whatever you have. You're gonna reach in and you're gonna pull one out. So that's like Palom here smashing it open to see what's inside. So no spoilers, but I will give you an idea of what a hero could find. They could possibly find 500 gold in there. There's other gold amounts in there, possibly, but they could also find something not too pleasant, like a black rock viper. And hopefully that comes into view. I'm going to do this. There you go. So it's kind of like a baby black rock viper, 1d6 damage. So you never really know. And of course, you just roll a d6. So Palom would take 2 damage. She smashed open and this thing just lunged out and bit her. So you never know what's inside of a crate, 500 gold or a black rock viper or other things. And let me say too that I have come up with, there's going to be at least double this amount in the expansion. I have some new, very creative things that are going to be inside crates that I think you'll enjoy. So that's basically how the crate system works. So if you're inside of a chamber, don't spend an action. As long as you're in there, you can smash one open. Okay, let's move on to the next thing a hero can do in the hero phase. Okay, the next thing on our list here, going back to our quick reference guide, and this is going to be when a hero hides within a chamber. Okay, this is of course an action. This is going to be a little bit advanced, but hopefully you're seeing this. This stuff is not, it's very easy to grasp. So by the end of this, you'll know exactly what this is. This is not hard. Let's talk about why a hero would hide in a chamber. Here is our guardian, Razorfang. Here is Sir Brennus, and I set up this little demo to teach you about this. Notice this too before we go further. On all of these chambers here, like there's a 20 here, there's a 19 up here, I believe, that says, and I'm sorry, 18. But all of the chambers in the dungeon have these values. And again, this is tied to a D20. So some chambers, will have 18, 19, 20. Some of them actually have 13, 14, 15, 16. And I want you to think of this thematically. The higher the number, the more open this chamber is. There's not like, I like picture crates in there or shelves or boxes or whatever. So when you see 20, this is a very open chamber. If you see one that says 13, picture there's a lot of crates in there and maybe coffins stacked up or, boxes and shelves of things. So lower numbers like 13, there's places to hide. As it goes up, 14, 15, there's less things in those chambers. Again, thinking thematically like this, where something like 20, there's not a lot of things in here for a hero to hide behind or hide in or whatever have you. So what this tracking, let's talk about the tracking token here. When a guardian catches sight of a hero, they don't just forget about them. They're going to track that hero. So right here we have tracking token 1, and up here there is the matching token on Razorfang that says 1. And so you'll notice there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they all are like a set. So when a guardian catches sight of a hero, you're going to place a tracking token on the hero card, and Sir Brennus's hero card is right down here. It's kind of out of view. I have it on there, and of course, Razorfang. So those two are connected. Razorfang is following Sir Brennus. So there is a few ways to escape from a guardian, so to lose that tracking status rather. And what we're going to discuss now is how a hero can hide on their turn. So this is the start of Sir Brennus's turn, and what we're going to do is we want to get out of line of sight of Razorfang. And what we're going to do is we're going to generate some movement. Okay, that's 3, and his base movement is 2, so that's 5. So we're going to go 1, 2. Now notice something. He's out of line of sight. Like, Razorfang doesn't know where he went just yet. We have to see if he can hide. And then he's going to enter a chamber. And I might have said this before, it does not cost an action to open and close a door. Okay, it just doesn't. It's just, you just open it, it's just a free action, or, it just happens. So then, 3 into the chamber. And let me touch on something that someone said. Yeah, there is these little squares in here, but this picture, this is one giant space in here, so you can go anywhere inside of a chamber. So Sir Brennus is inside the chamber, and he's kind of looking for somewhere to hide from our guardian Razorfang. So if you think of it like a fantasy action movie, if you will. So this hero's running and this guardian's chasing him, and he finds this chamber and he goes in and he's looking for some place to hide so he can lose the tracking status, because Razorfang did not see him go in there. However, we have to see if Sir Brennus is successful at hiding. Very simple. The hide value on a chamber, this is 20. We're of course going to use a D20. Let's consult Sir Brennus's hero card and his hide attribute. So right here, notice there's like this guy right here with the hood. That's like someone hiding. Unfortunately, it's a 0. That's going to be very difficult for him to hide because, again, this is a very open chamber, 20. Going back to what I said. He's going to have to roll a natural 20 to be able to hide from Razorfang. It's going to be near impossible, but just know that there's certain gear in the game and certain other things that can boost up that hide value so you have better chances. So with an action, he moved, and he's just going to try to roll a d20 and hide. So, well, sort of close, but that was unsuccessful. Okay, Sir Brennus has one more action. Remember, that was just one action to move in and do the hide check. He's going to use his second and final action to try to hide one last time. And got it close again, but no. 18. So let me tell you what, let's say that that was a 20, that he actually rolled a 20. He has successfully hid from Razorfang. You would remove both tracking tokens from Razorfang's monster card and of course Sir Brennus's and put those back. He has successfully hidden from Razorfang and he has lost pursuit. Now, of course that he didn't. What's going to happen is in the monster phase, and this is where we're getting a little ahead, but it's quite simple. Razorfang is going to move into this chamber and attack Sir Brennus. And let me tell you, these guys can almost one-shot a hero, especially when they get higher level. Okay? And then on the following turn, after, you know, the monster phase, of course, we go back to the top of a turn. In that hero phase, Sir Brennus can hurry up and try to escape out of there and hide in another chamber, if possible. And that's simply how that works about hiding in a chamber. I don't think that was that difficult. But let me touch on one final thing. Notice how these were empty chambers. That's the rule about hiding. A hero can never enter into like a secret room, of course, because it's not discovered. If there were monster tokens in here, a mystery chamber, it has to be in either empty chamber that came up like this. You know, if that's an empty chamber, that's an empty chamber, or a chamber that has already been cleared of a champion monster. Okay, and that is simply how the hiding works. We'll get into more of this when we talk about Guardians in the monster phase. So let's move on to our next thing a hero can do in the hero phase. Okay, I want to go over this one more time, like this system. And again, I hope you guys are having fun with this. I'm really having a great time just, you know, going over all the stuff you can do in the hero phase. But now that you're kind of getting acclimated to all the different things you can do, and definitely the system, hopefully this is kind of, you know, all sinking in. So we're going to look at mining, and remember, kind of like if you have this, you know, considering the top, it's very easy how this is laid out. So we are adjacent. We're going to talk about being adjacent or on top of a mining site. We're going to be able to mine a site. Remember, the green arrow over here in this column means that you can continue movement if you have movement. And the notes, mining is very simple, but we're going to go a little in depth for you and talk about the pickaxe and how it possibly degrades, and about power gems. So I think we can catch a lot right here, and you'll learn a great deal about the game with this. So like in the notes, very simple. Draw 1d3 mining cards from the appropriate deck. Roll 1d12 for pickaxe degrading. So let's go over all of this, and we're going to go back up to the Runes of Daggereth, and we're going to have Enwin do some mining and try to discover that mining site. So I'll meet you up there. Okay, here we are back in the Runes of Daggereth. Remember, Palum found that secret room here. Of course, it was a treasure chamber, got 800 gold. So here's Enwin. Here is one of those potential mining sites. Remember, when we did our setup, this says unexplored. There's 4 real mining sites and there's 4 fake ones. So that's random each game. So for the start of Enwin's turn, she's going to, of course, generate some movement. And so 2. She has a base movement of 3, so that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, of course, she is adjacent to this mining site. This is important. This does not cost an action. Okay, we can reveal that. You could either be on top of it or adjacent to a mining site to reveal it. So let's flip it over and see right here. This is not a mining site. So this would just get put back in the game box. However, for our demo here, we're going to say we found a mining site. So hold on a moment. Okay, so I did replace this with a mining site, so we're just going to kind of reverse. I showed you what would happen if it wasn't a real mining site. So let's reveal this, and of course, now this is a mining site. So Enwin has discovered mining site D, and we're going to go over to those mining decks in a moment. You know, there's A, B, C, and D. So she has discovered mining site D. Now remember, she has not spent an action yet. This is still her movement. So in Dungeon Crusade, you can move and then perform an action. And this is one of them right here. So we're going to have Enwin do some mining. Mining is super, super easy in Dungeon Crusade. Let me show you this first. We're going to say a couple turns ago, Albus, our fetch hound, Enwin gave him some gold and he ran back to the village and he got a pickaxe. And of course, that's just a card clip. So this is a brand new pickaxe. And when I created the mining and crafting system, I wanted it to be where the pickaxe has a chance to degrade, where if it would become dull, you have to send it, it says right here what to do. So Albus could run this back to the village, and for a fee, the blacksmith will resharpen it. And so just know that this is in here. So this thing could degrade. You know, of course, you're banging on the ground with it, so there's a chance that it could degrade. So that's kind of like, that's the pickaxe. Let me show you how this works. Okay, for this action, she's going to mine. You simply take the D3 and you roll. Okay, okay, 1 is the result. So what we're going to do is, in a moment, we're going to go over there. That means that she hit the ground and she found basically one thing from the mining deck. You're going to draw 1 card. So basically, the result, whatever the result is, that's how many cards you're going to draw. So let's keep that in mind for a moment. But for her second action, she's going to strike the ground again and mine again on the site. But first, we already, kind of hit the ground, right? We're going to take our pickaxe. And we're going to see if it degraded. Now notice at the top, there's a 12. That's tied to the D12. This is a very, very simple system. You're going to take a D12 and roll. Oh. By luck. Okay, so notice the 12 came up. I'm actually glad that did. I can't believe I rolled a 12. But, so notice the 12 is at the top. Whatever value this is, that means that it has degraded. So this took some damage from her hitting the ground. So we're just going to simply move this down to the next level. So now it's 11 or 12. Notice, you're using it more, so there's a chance it could degrade. So I'm very happy that came up. So you see it, very simple how that works. Okay, let's go back for her second action. She's going to hit the ground again. She's going to mine. This, of course, is her last action. 2. Okay, so she found 2 things in this mining site. Again, that means she's going to draw 2. So from her first one, she had a 1, 2. She's going to be able to draw 3 mining cards. And I just waited. I could have done it, when she rolled the 1, but I just wanted to wait to show you this. So let's go over to the mining deck. And let's see what she found from mining. Oh, but first, she hit, again, before we leave, we're going to see if the pickaxe degraded from this. We're going to roll the D12. 2. Okay, of course, it's not in that range of 11 to 12, so it's good. It did not degrade. Now, let's go over to the mining deck and see what she found. And here we are on, of course, the Dungeon UI board, and here's our mining decks. Now, there's actually letters you can't see, but it's quite simple. This is mining site A, mining site B, mining site C, and mining site D. This is where we're going to draw from. And remember, she had the 1 and the 2, so that's 3. She's going to draw 3 times. But we're going to go a little in depth so I can teach you more about this and how to create power gems. So we're going to draw the top card. So she hit it was just pebbles and dirt. That's all that she found. So nothing of value. So that's 1. Draw again. Okay, she found some moonstone. Just know that moonstone and zultanite are your main ingredients. And I know I get pretty deep with this. Moonstone is like a hardening agent. Picture it. So when the blacksmith takes moonstone, he melts it down, and it's like a really hard coating that goes over the power gems. Okay, so then we're going to draw 1 more time. And she found some ruby stone. And this is one of the precious gems. These are important for crafting those power gems, and we're going to take a look at some recipes. But you're going to notice that these, like these precious gems, think of the warfare values. Ruby stone, physical warfare. We're going to go through this. So just these kind of tie into that also. So let's go through a few more of these here. But so again, though, she would have had just these 3 that she would have put in her player area. Okay, let's go through this deck and go through a few more things. Okay, there's Sunstone. That's another precious stone. Think spiritual warfare, Sunstone. Next. Okay, and this is Zoltanite. This is the other main ingredient. You know, so there's Moonstone and Zoltanite. And again, I love this stuff and I got deep with this. So while Moonstone is like a hardening agent, picture Zoltanite is it amplifies, it has like amplifying powers of the precious stone. So, and this is like real, it's like crystal, like, you know, it's very delicate, but this amplifies the power within the precious stones. And when you see the recipe cards, you'll totally get this. So that's Zoltanite. Okay, there's Obsidian. Think Chaos Warfare, black. And there's some Iolite, blue, ranged. And this is going to tie in with things called Prowess Power Gem. So this will click when you see this. So there's Iolite. And then there's Amethyst. Think of Mythical Warfare, purple. And then Jade, green, Arcane Warfare. So those are the precious stones. And if we dig again, what's in there? Oh, just more Zoltanite. So those are the main things that you're going to find. Rocks, you know, pebbles and dirt, and the 6 different precious stones, Zoltanite and Moonstone. And of course, there's those cards that we shuffled in at the start that say, you know, this mining site is exhausted. Okay, so I think you learned a lot just from that. And just remember how these things kind of tie into the warfare types. Let's go over some of those recipes on the power gems, and then we're going to move on to the next action a hero can do in the hero phase.